especially like through my development stage, freshman all the way to senior year. I just wish I would have been on that side of town maybe and then got to connect with you guys. I definitely felt like it would have helped me a lot.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the One Eye Scout Show, live. But we're gonna go over the the feedback from the. Hold on one second. The feedback from the circuit. We also took in the Adidas Gold, and we got to check in on some fellas that we had covered throughout the year, and getting to cover them really in the summer. You know, we started off out there at let's see, what was that called? Duncanville Fieldhouse. We caught some of the Adidas Gold, and in doing that, um, we got to see um, Jay Uno, no, Jamal Shed Elite, and with that, we got to see Alex English from Alamo Heights, and he put on a big show. Um, the vibe of the event, man, it was just competition. Um, their programs, they were from Utah. There were teams from all over the state of Texas, and I think the Jamal Shed Elite and Progress Only, the two local teams from San Antonio. Well, I say local for uh, Jamal Shed Elite because they have local players on there. Um, it was a great chance to see them there. And then, there were. Then we went over to the circuit, and when we're looking at the circuit, you're getting an opportunity for the different circuits to play. There was EYBL versus Puma. Um, there was New Balance versus Adidas, and it was neat to watch. But Adidas always brings a great event, and this was the first time that I had actually attended the that I attended a circuit event, and I was pleasantly surprised. Um, with everything that's going on, um, there was an opportunity to see 9, 10 teams from San Antonio. And then what was great was we actually got a chance um, to reflect on Mason Thomas for one. You know, Mason Thomas with 3D Empire. He played. I think we talked about it earlier in the show earlier in the week. A big first half, 2 for 2 3-pointers. I think he wound up 3 for 3, but he was dominating the glass, dominating rebounds, getting stops, and he's going to be a really. That's what stood out to me, and as we got feedback from coaches yesterday, um, specifically about Mason Thomas. Some schools from the Sun Belt Conference. And so that's exciting. So it's an exciting future for him. We had Max Doctor, with behind the scenes. And they he plays for the 17U team. He goes to Johnson High School. He's a class of 26. And what stood out to me there was, he really embraced the role of a forward. And what I mean by that is he set great screens. He rolled to the basket. He popped out when he needed to, played a two-man game, was very comfortable and relaxed in the post. And so that was exciting to see, and as well as the whole team from behind the scenes, 17U did a great job of screening, reading, and reacting. Um, then we go over a few courts over, and we had a chance to see Amani Francis, class of 27. And Amani, uh, class of 27, plays with Harlan, and he's playing with the Houston Hoops team, and they're still figuring each other out. But when we're talking about Amani with different coaches, different levels, um, they always talk about how physically gifted he is. He jumps well. He's got a great body. He's still learning how to play the game. And what people don't understand, whenever you have someone 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", it takes them a while to kind of grow into their body and feel really comfortable, because their body's always growing. They hit a growth spurt, they get clumsy, then they get it back. They get a growth spurt, get clumsy, get it back. And as a talent evaluator and trainer for years, that's something that's the hardest thing to do, is to get parents to understand that bigs take longer, take longer to develop, and that's fine. Um, but he looked really, really good. Also with that team was McKinley from Buda Johnson. He looked well, looked good. I think it's going to take a little while for their chemistry to develop. But one guy, there's two guys that I'm going to talk about next, and one of them was Alex Elliott. I think he had the biggest standout performance, because I didn't know. I had an idea what he could do, because he didn't get to do it during the high school season. But the young man is hella athletic, runs the floor great, plays defense, chase down blocks, um, shoots outside well. Allen Heights does a great job of fundamentals. One thing that I learned while we were at the USA Junior Camp was Coach Brewer was actually there. So he's not only at the top of the charts, for high school basketball, but he's gotten the opportunity to be involved with that USA junior team, the Olympic team. So that's pretty big. I think the biggest gainer for the weekend, over from what we saw from high school, junior season to now the summer of his junior year, heading into his senior year, was Zayden Clark out of out of Veterans Memorial. Zayden was highly productive. He looked comfortable inside and out. He took what the defense gave him. The offense fed him the ball. And Zayden is playing with the HD Toros. Coach Lou Martinez does a great job with him, with that program. And who knows what the next step is for Zayden. If he keeps playing the way he did, he got I think Ethan Ballou wasn't there, so he played more of an inside force. But you can tell he's definitely worked on his inside-outside game. And one more thing with Alex Elliott, just finishing off. He's playing with Jamal Shed Elite on the Adidas Gold. So, and circuit talk, everybody talks about we have these different circuits, but what does that mean? And what does it mean when I say that I attended the circuit? Let's talk about attending the circuit event first and foremost. That event, it moves, but this time we went to watch it in the DFW. And what stood out to me um, was everybody played each other. We start talking about the Adidas circuit played the EYBL circuit, played the New Balance circuit, and it was very interesting. Um, and regarding um, San Antonio teams, um, we'll look at what did that mean for let's say San Antonio Future. Um, well, the Future is a Puma circuit team, and they had the opportunity to play a couple of games. Let's see, um, checking my notes right quick. All right, so SA Future Puma Pro 16 had a win over TJ Ford from the Adidas top circuit. Um, let's see, I thought there was one other one. The SA Future 15 Puma has a win over TJ Ford's 15. SA Future 17U had a win over Team Lillard, which is Dame Lillard's team. And, so that was interesting. And I'll go back. I may have skipped past it real quickly. Um, when you're talking about bigs developing, let's see, you've got footwork, you've got just the constant growing, um, putting on weight for baby weight for you to grow with. Um, you have different challenges. One that people don't think about is um, your endurance changes all the time because your body chemistry is changing all the time. And so when you're talking about 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", and they're at 16 years old and you've got 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", at 17 years old. Well, the 6'1", 6'2" guy has had longer to get used to his body than the 6'10", 6'11", 7-foot guy. And so I hope that explains it a little bit, um, a little bit better than what I had originally done. Um, you know, I think so. In the tiered system of EYBL, Adidas, Under Armour, and New Balance, each one's going to have their favorite. Each different team's going to think they're on the best circuit. I will say Adidas, uh, obviously Adidas products, EYBL, Elite Youth Basketball League, is with Nike products, UA or the Under Armour, obviously, and then New Balance is new on the block. And it the thing is, you're looking for competition, right? Where's the best competition? Well, it it's all over. Think people think it's about the swoosh or the swipes, but hoop is hoop. And you just got to get the opportunity. You got to play, and no matter what circuit level you're on, or what circuit you're with, or if you're on a grassroots team, because let's don't forget, there's a lot of great grassroots, and that means someone that's not on a circuit. Um, you have to be prepared to display your fundamentals, your training, your development, and the opportunity that you have. And so, one of the things we need to look at is what um, not only where you're getting developed or who's developing you all. You got to find the right fit, and that's where I get I watch people where they go, and you'll have a forward go to somewhere where they're point guard dominant, or you find some, and so it's kind of like, are you going for your own development? And for that's something you have to ask for yourself. I think when you're looking at if you're seventh or eighth on the depth chart, that might be something to look at going somewhere where you're fourth or fifth or sixth, because you can't demonstrate what you can do if you can't um, if you can't get on the court. And so that was something that I was watching someone talk about today, and when they were talking about what's best, you know, and I think what's best is to find where you're going to get developed more, because that's going to be what gets you into favor with the college coaches. So that's where we're going to go next. What college coaches are really watching? Man, I watch clip after clip after clip, video after video after video of highlights. And it's always interesting to me how you'll have someone post that they're a defensive stopper or they're a great defender, but yet you look at their highlights and you rarely see them defending someone. So I'm not saying that's the only thing you have to put on your highlights, but I do, um, as an evaluator, as a person, look at um, if you've got a inside basket, if you've taken somebody off the dribble, if you have made a shot from 3-point line, but most importantly, I'm watching. For most point for me, I'm watching to see if you have anything on a defensive stop. Whether you're a guard, if you're a big man, if you're a forward, are you rebounding? Are you giving outlet passes? Are you looking to push up the floor? Are you blocking shots? Are you rotating? And so people always want to post points, points, points. I promise you, to every young man, every young lady, there's a gajillion scores out there. Gajillion. So whenever coaches are coming to look, there are a lot of, I've known a guy, we're talking about body language. I known a guy who had a offer, was about to get an offer from a top 15 program in the country. And there was one spot in the film where he had body language, negative body language, was frustrated with his team, and the coach decided to move on. So when I talked to a young fella this past weekend, they were up 30, and he was starting to have bad body language because he was missing shots, uh, and that's not promoting your team. That's not helping your team. How do you respond to coaching? You know, there's a lot of clips out there where you'll find um, what's the coach from Bruce Pearl from Auburn. And, he's animated, he's loud, he's got a colorful language, but yet you look and every one of those players are staring him in the face, listening to what he's saying. And then you'll find a high school kid that'll just brush off the coach or, clap his hands and just keep walking. So they're looking to see if you're going to have a response to the coach. Like, are you going to go in at halftime and get a different game plan, and are you going to come out and execute? We talked about toughness in adversity. What does that actually look like? That means when the officials aren't necessarily calling the foul that you're looking for. If your shot's not falling, if your guy's kicking your ass, or if your teammate's getting his ass kicked, are you helping? Are you rotating to help? You know, are we rebounding the ball and pushing it up? And are we, whenever we're down 10, are we giving less effort? Are we giving more effort to try to help our team overcome? and we did a video that got posted today talking about Red, Jalen Crittenden, and Joshua Rice, just for example, the difference between their defense effort, defensive, not even effort, where they're standing in their own ball effort is about 6 to 12 inches closer than most other guards. And it's because they trust their feet, they worked on it, and they're just giving that maximum effort. So you just got to remember they're watching. Coaches aren't just watching your shot; they're watching how you check out of the game when you sub. They're watching what you do when the game or the play isn't run for you. And just being talented just isn't enough. You got to remember the transfer portal is full of dudes who never learned how to play the right way. You've got, I think, 3,459 people still in the transfer portal right now. And I want to say the number was 2,100 available scholarships. So you're already, as a high school player, at a disadvantage. So you got to be making the most of every opportunity. When you're on the floor, make sure you're communicating loudly. Make sure everyone's ready. That's just it, man. You got to be loud. You got to play defense. You got to help your team. So we're gonna continue dropping clips during the week. We've got some upcoming shows. We're gonna get back on air with Coach Anwar King. We've got some TAAN Kids segments coming up where we're gonna have Key has his show, and we're gonna start with Dwayne Cubitt this Friday. So I really appreciate you for watching. I appreciate you for helping us out on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. Just in the 9 months we've been doing this, we're already at 1 million, over 1 million impressions. 60,000 views a month on IG. And I'm just excited and thankful. Follow us on IG, Twitter, and YouTube. All that at the OneEyed Scout. We've got clips, player breakdowns, and more coming from next weekend. We're gonna get ready. I know Gasso has a big event. Adidas has an event. EY, there's a lot of events coming up. So we gotta stay communicated, stay locked in. So we're ready, and we have the information. And if nobody's ever told you this before, you don't need hype to be real. Just stay in the gym. Thank you for joining in. And we will be signing off. Be ready for
especially through my development stage, freshman all the way to senior year. I just wish I would have been on that side of town maybe and got to connect with you guys.